It's 8:35, 25 minutes now before the hour of 9 o'clock on our Newsmax hotline, our regular Meet the Candidates series here in this midterm election year. There's a Senate seat up for grabs here in Maryland this time out. And joining us on our Newsmax hotline is James Tarantin. James was born in Israel. He is an Israeli-American, maybe the first one running for U.S. Senate in history. James, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Sean, good morning. How are you? Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. So,
thank you very much.
Again, as an immigrant to the country, and now you're an American citizen. Why do you want to run for the U.S. Senate?
I want to run for the U.S. Senate. I think that's the key question, because I really do believe, Sean, that the greatest danger we face in Maryland and the United States and around the world even are these career politicians that have been stayed in power for decades and truly have corrupt intentions towards the people. Somebody told me once that if the people in office were Mother Teresa, 80% of all humanity's problems would vanish. Now, I'm not Mother Teresa, but I do believe that because of my life experiences, I can relate more to the pain of the people. I think that what's happening right now as I go across Maryland, people are telling me that they really do think that Congress is a private country club that serves the elite and not the people. They think that the democracy that we're experiencing is a mirage and not a real democracy. And they say, why should I hire, why should I keep on voting for the same person who lies to me? Like, who's going to hire the same employee who lies to his employer? So people just want to elect warm-hearted people, citizen politicians, not career politicians, who want to bring a measure of healing and can bring a measure of practical solutions for our country. And I really hope and want to be able to do that and stop this genocide of dreams, because I think less and less people have the chance to experience the American dream as I experience today as I live with my wife and my two boys here in Maryland.
James, in the last several days, we've seen two New York police officers gunned down in the line of duty. Houston deputy also killed, and those in Ferguson, Missouri. There's a war on police in the last year or so, where 346 have been shot, 63 killed. What is creating this environment, and what would you propose to do to help stop it?
First of all, as a citizen and as a voter, I think that it's just, for me, unrealistic that some cities across the country are promoting or defending that extreme high crime rate that is happening across our nation for political reasons before they are willing to support our police. I think that 99.9% of our police, men and women in uniform, are honorable people, that we should absolutely refund them and never even think for a second to defund them. I think that is just an outrageous theory. So I think that by staying out, that you will absolutely stand by the police and make sure that you will follow your promise. That's one of the biggest things that any candidate or an incumbent can do. And I think that the whole theory of some people or career politicians in the country of them wanting to defund the police comes only for political purposes, because they understand that the more crime there is, the more dependent people may be on them. So I think that's maybe the crux of the theory behind why not supporting our men and women in police uniform.
Part of the problem is that we now have open borders to our south. The administration has recently been caught on video secretly moving illegal aliens all around the country under the cover of darkness, and putting them up at taxpayer expense at hotels and redistributing them all around the country. Where do you stand on our southern border? Would you finish President Trump's wall?
Look, the legal immigration policy is a very dear issue to me. I came to the United States here with nothing. I had no family, no friends, no connections, no money, no education. I came here all alone legally, but for the hope of living the American dream. And I suffered through a decade of poverty. I had no health insurance. I had to go to chefs for them to give me food at night. so not go to sleep hungry. So I know the meaning, and it's a very dear issue to me, and I can relate to the people when they want to come here and they want to live the American dream, or they want to unite with their families and so forth. But I really do believe that we have to protect our borders just like we protect the borders of other nations. It does not make any sense where we protect the borders of other nations and spend millions of dollars to do so, but we cannot protect our own, or we give money to illegal immigrants but not give money to seniors and veterans and so forth. I'm a big believer that I think veterans, for example, those who lost their families, those who lost a member in war or special operations, should never pay federal tax. And I think that these things we should fight for instead of funding illegal immigrants that come here illegally, despite the fact that I can relate to their pain and why do they want to do it.
We're talking with James Tarantin. He is running for U.S. Senate here in Maryland. And you talk about protecting the borders. This past election, 3 November 2020, there was a lot of controversy regarding some of the procedures and processes utilized. It is important. We just get a ruling on Friday that Pennsylvania is now shutting down the mail-in ballots because of some improprieties there. Are you in favor of election reform for all 50 states?
First of all, I think that's a key question, and I think it's a very important question that every candidate should speak about. And I think it comes down to, Sean, to 3 layers that are the crux of the issue that you are speaking about, which is the election reform. First of all, I am not a big believer of allowing Wall Street and other billionaires to spend unlimited amount of money into our elections, because politicians and candidates take the money from them to their special PACs and super PACs or whatever, or what have you. And then they spend it on misinformation and misguiding voters, most of them. And then the problem comes down that many voters don't really always have the time to verify the truth. So they just vote based on what they hear, based on all the commercials and all the hundreds of millions of dollars of media that is being spent on. And then what's happening is that there are no term limits, so these incumbents stay in power for life. And on top of it, as you are saying about the election reform, how does this make sense, for example, that if I want to go and get my wife just gave birth 6 months ago to a
Congratulations.
baby. So I just had to go to the pharmacy saying thank you. So I just went to the pharmacy to give her a prescription pill. They would not give it to me because I forgot to bring my ID. Or to her ID, and she was in pain. So how is that okay that we need to show our ID, full ID, when we go and pick up some medicine, but some cities or some places do not want to show ID when you go to vote, which is the epicenter of democracy. That is the center of everything, is to be able to present yourself that you are a U.S. citizen with an ID when you come to vote. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. So for me, on that regard, we must make sure that this is going to be something that everybody will follow.
Well, that's our initial conversation. We're out of time for today, but we'll have you back in the future to delve into some more topics. But if people want more information about your campaign, James, where do they go?
My website is at jamestarantin.com, jamestarantin.com. We have a massive platform also on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Please join us. You can contact us through the contact button, and we'll reply to you within 24 hours.
James, thanks for joining us this morning. Good luck.
Thank you very much to you, Sean. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye. That's Tarantin, Tarantin, Tarantin.